Welcome back. So, if you've ever tried to make your own body cream, one of those really luxurious ones,
Hmm.
or even if you just have a favorite moisturizer that sinks in perfectly without feeling greasy, you get that the magic isn't just about the fancy oils you put in.
No, not at all.
The real secret is the foundation, the scaffolding that holds everything together.
That's really the crux of it. When you're making something specialized, like especially Canada skincare, you're trying to get these rich, beneficial oils to mix with water
Yeah.
and to do it permanently.
And if that foundation is weak, it all falls apart.
You just end up with separation, a lot of wasted ingredients, and, well, a ton of frustration.
Absolutely. So today we're taking a closer look at one of those foundational ingredients that formulators really rely on to avoid that disaster. It's called Montanov 68.
We've been looking at this really great in-depth article that breaks down why this specific emulsifier is such a powerhouse, particularly when you're dealing with infused lotions and creams.
So our mission today really is to figure out what gives this ingredient its reputation for being so reliable and, what's the actual mechanical advantage it brings, especially for something as sensitive as an infused oil.
Right. What makes it so trustworthy?
And just to give a shout out to the resource we're looking at, the article is from 420formulator.com. It's run by Mike Harmon.
That's a great site.
It's an excellent resource for anyone who's formulating at home or just wants to understand the nuts and bolts of stable skincare, particularly with cannabis.
Yeah, that site really gets into the practical side of things, which is what you need if you want to make high-quality products that actually work.
Okay, so let's start with its reputation. The general feeling is that Montanov 68 is, well, it's an established ingredient. It's earned its place just by doing its job quietly and consistently.
Which is so critical in formulation. It's not some new, flashy thing. It's a veteran,
A workhorse.
a total workhorse. And when you have something that's been used and tested for years, you know how it's going to behave. That kind of stability is priceless when your active ingredients are expensive.
And one of the first things that stood out in the article was its origin. It's described as completely plant-based.
Or vegetable, yeah.
Mhm.
And that tells you right away who this appeals to. It's for formulators who are building clean, plant-forward products.
So where does it actually come from?
It's made from sugars that are derived from cassava and then fatty alcohols that come from coconut. So it fits perfectly if you're aiming for a vegan or petrochemical-free cosmetic line.
Let's get into the slightly more technical stuff because I think this is where its forgiveness comes from. The blog calls it a non-ionic oil and water emulsifier. What does non-ionic actually mean for someone mixing up a cream?
That's a great question because it's the key to its reliability. Simpler emulsifiers, some of them rely on charged ions, like old-school soap-based systems.
And those can be really sensitive, right?
It's extremely sensitive. They get disrupted by, well, almost anything. The pH of your water, salts, even some botanical extracts can just throw the whole thing off.
So if you add one wrong ingredient, your whole formula can just crash.
It can completely fall apart. But being non-ionic means Montanov 68 pretty much ignores all those variables. It stays stable across a really wide pH range, and it plays nicely with all those extracts and oils you find in natural skincare.
So the takeaway is that it's just easier to work with. It's more forgiving.
Infinitely simpler for the formulator. His whole job is to deliver long-term stability and make sure your key ingredients, like those cannabis extracts, are released slowly and steadily.
That slow release part is huge. But before we get to performance, let's talk about what it's actually made of. The article spends a bit of time on the INCI.
Right, the INCI, the International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. It's just the standard way of naming things on the label. Super important for transparency and, for people with allergies.
And the INCI for Montanov 68 lists two things, cetearyl alcohol and cetearyl glucoside.
Okay, so let's take cetearyl alcohol first. A lot of people hear alcohol and they panic. They think it's drying.
Yeah, like rubbing alcohol.
But this is a fatty alcohol.
Right.
It's a waxy, solid substance from plants, so it's not drying at all. In fact, it's a structural element. It helps build viscosity and stabilizes the whole formula.
So it's doing two jobs at once, stabilizing and improving the texture.
Yep, it's part of what gives you that really nice, cushioned skin feel you get in high-end creams.
Okay, and the second part, cetearyl glucoside.
That's the sugar-based part. This is the primary emulsifier. It's the component that actively pulls the oil and water together and holds them in that stable mix.
And this is the key insight I got from the blog. These two don't just happen to be in the mix, they work together as a complete emulsifying system. Why is that such a big deal?
Because it saves you so much trouble. With a lot of natural systems, you have to buy and balance 2 or 3 different ingredients. You need your main emulsifier, then a co-emulsifier, maybe another stabilizer.
And you have to get the ratios just right.
You do. But Montanov 68 delivers all of that in a single ingredient. You get robust control without all the complexity. It just eliminates a bunch of variables right from the start.
That seems like a massive advantage, especially for smaller scale formulators.
It really is.
So we've got this robust two-part system. How do you actually get it to work? How does it go from being these little white pellets to a beautiful cream?
Well, you need 2 things. Heat and high mechanical energy, which we call shear.
Mm-hmm.
So you melt the Montanov 68 pellets right into your oil phase when you're heating it up.
And then you combine it with the water phase.
Once they're both at the right temperature, you combine them, and then you hit it with high shear mixing.
Now, high shear sounds like you need some fancy lab equipment.
Thankfully, no. For most people making batches at home, a simple stick blender, an immersion blender, gives you more than enough shear to get that emulsion started properly.
So that initial blend is really important, but the real magic, the thing that sets this apart from a basic wax, that happens after you turn the blender off, right? During cool down.
This is the aha moment. This is where we get to the lamellar liquid crystal structure.
Oh, okay.
So with a simpler wax, you might just get tiny oil droplets suspended randomly in water, like little marbles floating in a bowl.
Right, a bit chaotic.
A bit chaotic. But as Montanov 68 cools down, it actually forces the oil and water to organize themselves into these repeating microscopic layers, these stacked sheets.
Like perfectly stacked microscopic pancakes.
That's a great way to think of it. You get this highly organized gel network. And what's really fascinating and so relevant for skincare is that this layered arrangement is very similar to the natural structure of lipids in a healthy skin barrier.
Wow. Okay, so if the cream's physical structure mimics the skin's structure, that must be why some creams feel like they just become part of your skin, while cheaper ones just feel like they're sitting on top.
That is the key functional difference. Because it's so compatible, the cream feels balanced and it integrates gradually. It's actively supporting moisturization instead of just providing a temporary slick feeling.
And the article had a really important practical tip about this part. You have to be gentle during the cooling phase.
Oh, it's vital. You have to keep stirring gently to keep a skin from forming on top. But if you mix too hard once those liquid crystals are forming, you can break them.
And that would ruin the final texture.
It compromises both long-term stability and that beautiful, luxurious skin feel. You want those crystals to form slowly and gracefully.
Okay, so let's connect this amazing stability directly to cannabis-infused products. Those oils are precious, they can be expensive. Why is this lamellar structure so good for them specifically?
Well, first off, Montanov 68 can handle medium to higher amounts of oil, so you can make a much richer cream than with some other natural emulsifiers.
And it works well with the typical carrier oils.
It's rock-solid stable with the most common ones, whether you're using olive oil, hemp seed oil, MCT oil. It doesn't matter. You have these valuable ingredients, and you need a system that you know won't fail.
We've all been there. You make a perfect cream, and a week later it's separated into a watery, oily mess.
And with infused oils, that's not just annoying. You're wasting expensive material.
Right.
So this organized layered structure basically holds that infused oil captive. It prevents it from migrating or separating out over time. Your product stays uniform and effective for its entire shelf life.
And you mentioned delivery earlier. Does this structure change how the active compounds actually get to the skin?
It does. It creates a slow, sustained release of those fat-soluble ingredients like the cannabis extracts. You don't get this big, heavy flash of oil on the skin all at once.
Which is probably more useful for daily skincare.
For regular use, especially over larger areas of the body, that gradual delivery is so much better than a quick hit. The product stays comfortable to wear for hours, which means people are more likely to actually use it consistently.
It makes the product more pleasant for daily life, which encourages compliance.
Yes, a product that feels good is a product people actually use.
So thinking about the best applications, it sounds like Montanov 68 really shines in products where comfort and regular use are the main goals.
It absolutely does. It's fantastic for face creams where you want deep moisture but not greasiness, and for rich body creams. The blog specifically mentions how well it works in a calendula hand cream.
A product you'd use multiple times a day.
Exactly, where you need something soothing that spreads easily.
And on the flip side, if you're trying to make a really thin sprayable lotion or watery milk, this probably isn't your first choice.
That's right. It's happiest when it's creating that structure and body in a lotion or a cream.
Which brings us back to the formulator. The article suggests this is for people who care more about dependability than chasing the newest, trendiest ingredient.
It is the ultimate ingredient for consistency. It's so forgiving of small mistakes in technique, unlike some other more temperamental natural systems. You don't need to fiddle with precise co-emulsifier ratios or get the pH exactly right. It just works.
And for those new to the cannabis side of things, it's worth noting that while the blog covers emulsifiers, that site also links out to tutorials on other crucial steps, like decarboxylation.
Which is, for anyone who doesn't know, that essential heating step you need to do to activate the compounds in the cannabis oil before you even mix it into your cream. It just shows how comprehensive this site is for making a stable, effective product from start to finish.
So Montanov 68 seems to sit in this perfect sweet spot. It's a big step up from basic emulsifying waxes in terms of how it feels on the skin,
Oh, a huge step up.
but it's way less demanding than some of those really advanced, finicky natural systems.
It gives you that sophistication of structure, but without the headache of complexity. It's reliable, it's adaptable, and it's perfect for real-world formulation.
That combination of stability, comfort, and flexibility really explains why formulators trust it for products that are meant to be used day in and day out. It's a cornerstone you can build a whole product line on.
It certainly is.
So for those of you who want to explore this more, maybe grab a free formulation or check out the other tutorials, you should head over and take a look at 420formulator.com. Mike Harmon's done a great job of laying out these essentials.
And before we go, here's a final thought to leave you with. Next time you pick up your favorite moisturizer, don't just look at the active ingredients on the label.
Okay.
Ask yourself, could the inherent structure of the cream, the thing created by a dependable material like Montanov 68, actually be the most crucial active ingredient for your long-term skincare success?
That is some food for thought. Thanks for chatting about the structural secrets of stable creams with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll talk to you next time.